This is a follow-up. If you are a software engineer or a team and you want to use Rust in production for backend and frontend for applications, this video is for you. A quick reminder, I'm using Leptos for this, and this is a Airbnb clone. This is the Airbnb clone I'm using for the bootcamp I have for Rustify. If you want to have more info about this, you just need to go on rustify.rs in here, and you just need to go inside here, and you will have all the information inside here. Also you will have the information about the Airbnb bootcamp. And today I want to show you a little more how we can do integration tests for an application, because I didn't do it yet, and it's time for me to do it. So let's do it together. Okay, so I've prepared a simple plan for this. I will show you very quickly, and then the idea is that we do that together. So the video will be a little short. It's more for you to understand, to have a global picture of how it looks like to have integration tests, to make sure that the database that you have and the functions that you have to query the database work as expected. Okay, so what I did is a simple plan for this. So let's see. So I'm discovering also the plan with you. So I'm just making sure that everything is correct for this. So the idea is just to use SQLx. I'm using SQLx for this, and to have proper tests. So I want to go a little faster, so I will review the code more in details after. Here is just to launch the process so that you can see more easily what it does. So basically, I have another project where I have proper integration tests. I told AI to see what is inside this project so that it can understand the pattern I'm using, and then to apply this exact same pattern for the Airbnb clone project that we have. Okay. Also, you remind, I explained that in the previous video, so if you want to have the full context of this video, watch the previous one. But what I have is app, src, and inside we have domain. And inside the domain we have both the database directly, also the services, and also the front-end part with Leptos, where we call the services. Each services call the function that we have inside DB files, and what we have inside DB files is directly the call to the database itself. If you want to understand this, please watch the previous video. Here we want to focus on the integration tests. Okay, so it seems it's okay. Okay, so migration path. So also when we use integration tests, how it works is that it needs to, of course, connect to the database, right? And the way it works is that it will connect to the database, it will recreate the migration, and it will make sure that everything is working as expected. So it will create everything that we have inside migration like this. Okay. So for instance, if we want to make sure that, I don't know, the reviews are working as expected, it will go inside here. So we have review DB, for instance. We want to make sure that all these functions are working properly. Okay. And this way, since we are using domain, we need to have proper location for the migrations, because the migrations are here, and inside the app we have domain, we have review, and we have the review DB like this. So we need to go inside here, and then inside here, and then inside here. Okay, so hopefully you understand. Okay, so I want to go a little faster on this integration test. So perfect, I like this. Okay. Okay, so it's not perfect, but anyway, I just want to show you that quickly, so we can launch this. So I will launch this. I will wait that it does everything, and then I will show you more in details how an example of integration test works, so that you can see more clearly how it works in the production Rust production environment. So everything is done. So if you look at this, also I'm using nextest to run all the tests, in parallel. It's a little faster. And so AI has created this number of tests. Okay, we skip just one. I'm also discovering with you. And the idea for the moment is just for you to understand, to have the big picture of how it looks like to have integration test inside a production code-based application. Okay, so let's say that we are good for the test. So let's see, for instance, for ReviewDB. So the way I like to do in general is something like this. Okay, so we have the different implementation for our ReviewDB, for instance. So we have a function to get review counts by home you need, okay, to get rating stats by home you need, to get by home you need, and to get by user you need. Okay, perfect. And what we want is to make sure that all the logic for this, so you remind that we are connecting directly to the database, that all is working properly. So for this, we need to have integration test. And the way it works is that we can have like this. So we use savej for configure, and we, oops, my bad. And we have, as you can see, so we have test feature SSR because we are inside the SSR context. We need to have, of course, the PG pool. Okay. I've created also some test helpers. So if we look at test helpers, so for instance, we create the test review. This why not, but something more important is, for instance, that we create the test user. Because of course, to make sure that the review is working properly, the authentication is working properly. I don't know what else do we have. The booking also are working properly. Of course, for all of this, we need to have test user to make sure that all of this is working properly, and to avoid to have code duplication. I've created this test helper like this. Okay, and we are using it a lot of times, especially also inside the ReviewDB. And the way it works for integration test, it's something like this. Okay, so we have the SQL test like this, migration, then you reference migration like this. So I've done some changes so that we have just always the migration like this. Okay, so you remind that I've already showed you this. Okay, this is here. And so basically we connect to the database, we create some fake user, some fake location you need, some fake host you need, and so on. And the idea is to make sure that the count, for instance, for this function, so you remind that we are inside ReviewDB. So ReviewDB, you remind that it's inside here, and inside we have different functions, and we have a function to get review counts by home you need. So what we are doing is that we test this function, okay? So we take all that we have here, we get then the count, okay? And we make sure that the count is indeed 3, because we have created 3 reviews like this. So very, very simple. Hopefully you understand a little better how it works. So yeah, as the last video, I didn't prepare anything. It's just that I'm coding and also sharing with you what I'm doing when I ship application in production, because you remember that this clone, Airbnb clone, is accessible on this website. So you can check also this if you want, rustify.app. And if you are still here watching, it means that you are interested in using Rust for production. So if you want, you can have a look to rustify.rs. This is where I have the bootcamp, where also I do Airbnb, where I do coaching. So if you want to have more info, you can check this. If you want, you can also connect with me directly here on Maxwell's. So you just need to send me a message and I will answer to you rapidly. So it was Max. Thanks for watching and see you next time.